816-578-1007 if you want to join us live. 800-348-1007. Another $1,000 for you about 10 minutes from now. Next keyword at 2:30 for you to go fund yourself. You'll get a crack at that 30 past every hour on the show today. So be listening for those keywords when they pop up, and somebody wins a grand every single time. Cavaliers play tonight. The reigning champs, Milwaukee Bucks, are in town. They are 30-19. That's only one win more than the Cavaliers.
Yeah, the Cavs are 1.5 games out of first place, and there's not one, not two, but 3 Cavaliers that have birthdays today.
Hey, who?
Birthday.
Kevin Pangos, who is on the bench.
Gotcha.
Isaac Okoro, who is a starter.
I've heard of him.
First-round pick last year, and Darius Garland.
I've heard of him.
Was our first-round pick 3 years ago, and he is likely to be an all-star this year.
He's heir to the Christmas tree decoration fortune, as I understand.
Oh, yeah. I believe he is 22 years old.
Hey.
I believe Isaac Okoro is 20. I think he's 21 now. And Kevin Pangos, who cares?
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Pangos care.
Right.
They gave birth to their the young.
I don't know anything about him. He's not
son.
Is much of a marquee player.
All right. Well, tonight.
But, happy birthday, Kevin.
There you go. Cavs against Matthew Dellavedova and the Milwaukee Bucks.
He's in Australia now.
I'm sorry.
He's in Australia.
Yeah. And the 7 o'clock tip, if you hear screaming from the nosebleeds, that'll be me and Bill. We're going to the game tonight.
We're not in the nosebleeds. We are in the mid-bowl.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Mid-bowl.
We're mid-bowling it.
I got my ticket, too. I'll see how I feel.
Oh, are you coming? Did you get your ticket?
He wants to see how it feels.
Well, yeah, I understand. I mean, he likes to be mid-bowl when he's
weed every day.
Well, I will
before
see
a game.
Well, I will see how I feel, but also I was like, oh, I don't know if we have box seats. I kind of want some food, and it's really expensive.
Box seats.
Well, listen. Some people from across the street at my morning job, they're going and they're taking clients, and they have a box. He was like, hey, you're going to the game tonight? I was like, well, I have a ticket. I don't know if I'll go. He's like, well, if you do, just pop on up there and you can get some snacks on us.
Poundcake's going to have better seats than us. And you know what? This is what will get him to go.
Right.
It's
free snacks.
Snacks. Yeah. Would the notion of, because this is a staff game. Every year they do a staff game here at iHeart, and we're going tonight. And these obviously aren't things I would normally go to. Even I'm going to the game tonight, right? Show some solidarity with my crew. Poundcake, given the opportunity to hang out with his coworkers, right?
I'm gonna hang out.
Take in a game. He goes, I don't know if I want to go. And then the other people he works with, equally his coworkers, to be fair, they go, hey, we're going to have snacks. I'm there. Count me in.
They're taking a couple clients.
Yep. Can I record the next episode of my podcast while I'm eating?
And now imagine if you're those clients and you're at this game, and then all of a sudden this dude comes in, ravages the food that's in the
Great word
suite.
for that. Ravaging the food.
Ravaging. And then it's just like, I'm out.
Yep, that's right.
Just in there, smacking his lips, eating the food, and be like, okay, I gotta go.
He's like a Tasmanian devil just flying through.
Actually,
you guys got chocolate chip cookies?
But he's trying to help close the deal while he's chewing with his mouth open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really is. I'm going to come back.
That's a good bite.
Close the deal. He's just spitting crumbs all over the place. And
hey, smuggle us some Trulies out of there, buddy.
Some what? Trulies.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Anyway, so Cavaliers tonight, 7 o'clock, 6:30. We'll begin your pregame coverage here on WMMS. David Ortiz is the lone inductee into this year's Baseball Hall of Fame. They need to change the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, they just don't want all those people that made them millions and millions of dollars getting in.
Right.
Yes, they were on steroids, but who wasn't on steroids in the mid-'90s to mid-2000s?
Spoiler alert, David Ortiz was.
Yeah.
He was just nicer about it. Mm-hmm. He was cool to the media. He played the game. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, all these guys who try to get in 10 times. You only get 10 chances, and they blew out all their chances, and so they're never getting in. Barry Bonds is never getting in. Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling, they all failed in 10 years on the ballot, so they'll never get into Cooperstown. But Big Papi's getting in. And there could be, obviously, multiple cases made for all these guys getting in. David Ortiz received 77.9% of the vote. to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
I first of all want to thank God, for giving me the opportunity to be part of this very elite group of players. That's what pretty much every player dream of. The support throughout the year from my family. I mean, I don't think I would have done it without the support coming from the family. The families, and man, the Red Sox. I mean, the fans, everybody around who pretty much encouraged me to be the player and the person that I became to be. Thanks God, everything came out together at the right time, and here we are.
A bunch of these dudes just can't get in. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were the biggest dudes of that era, and they can't get in. Sammy Sosa, by the way, who, he got 18% of the vote to get in. Sammy Sosa, who, he looks like walking Pepto-Bismol now, but back in the day, we had him on the White Sox for a couple of years before he got famous on the Cubs, and nobody really knew who he was in the White Sox. When he was on the Cubs, Sammy Sosa famously said, "I put Chicago on the map. Nobody knew where Chicago was before I got to the Cubs." Like, well, you didn't know where Chicago was on a map, coming from the Dominican Republic, but... So, congratulations to David Ortiz, the lone inductee into Cooperstown. Hey, Marla.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, Marla?
Nothing much. Today would have been Mike's birthday, so I wanted to call up and say what's up.
Oh, this is Drunk Mike's sister. Drunk Mike. Now, you got to refresh my memory, Marla, because you and I have never spoken before. Drunk Mike used to call this show all the time, and he sadly passed away. What year did he pass away?
2017.
2017. I was thinking it was farther back than that, but 2017. And so he would have been how old today?
How old is Mike? 48 today.
48. Yeah, he was just a couple years younger than me. And is Drunk Mike Sr. passed too?
No, he's still alive.
Around. Okay.
75.
70. Yeah, my dad's birthday. My dad's going to be 77 this Friday.
Wow.
How are you guys doing, Marla? How old of a woman are you, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm 24.
24.
So I'm pretty young.
I guess so. Full sister, half sister, what?
Half sister.
Half sister. Okay. And are you guys commemorating him in any particular way today?
Not particularly. I actually have to work and stuff. Maybe I'll have a beer for Mike.
Right. Please have a beer for Drunk Mike Jr. Later on. Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Marla.
Well, of course. Have a good day,
All right.
guys. I wanted to just have a shout out.
Thank you so much. All right. There's Marla. You weren't here when Drunk Mike called in all the time.
No.
Drunk Mike was this guy. Drunk Mike Jr. would call in all the time. And then Drunk Mike Sr., obviously, as the name implies, was his dad. And so they would call in. And we did a thing years ago with this girl I called Honey Jackie, who we hooked up her and Drunk Mike. We did the Lush connection here on the show because they were both perpetually drunk. And then set them up on a date.
Yeah, I remember Honey Jackie. I ran into her.
Yeah, she called a couple of years ago. Drunk Mike passed away, as Marla said, in 2017. But we sent them out on what we thought was going to be a date, and it turned out to be like a 48-hour sex bender or something.
Really?
Yeah, where they were
wild.
they were like hanging out. They were hanging out for like 2 whole days, like friggin' natural born killers.
Jeez.
And it ended as much as you think it might.
On the parent front, though, you don't understand how lucky you are being in your 50s now and still having both parents.
Well, I mean, I hope that they're around for a long, long time. I mean, my dad got diagnosed with what they told him was a terminal disease 15 years ago, and they were like, well, you're not going to last past Christmas. And he's made it way past that. So hopefully, but I mean, my mom was, my mom's mom died at 103. But then again, her dad died when my mom was 29. So there was a huge swath of time where she only had one parent. Most of her life, she only had one parent.
Yeah, but it's just like rare. Like usually I'm not going to say usually, but I feel like the statistics weigh like parents lose their parents in their 40s usually.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, my wife is 10 years younger than I am, and it's been a real bummer, especially over COVID, how many friends of hers around her age and friends of mine that are that age. I don't have a lot of friends that are my age who've lost one or both parents over the past couple of years. It's crazy how early some people are going. Now, you can't lay that all at COVID's feet, but, just it's wild.
I don't know how you prepare yourself for that. I know
you don't.
You don't prepare yourself? Well, Mary, I know.
I mean, Mary, she would speak to it better than anybody else.
Well, I just got, I lost you guys for a while. I came back in and you said something about losing a parent. What were you saying?
I was saying Alan doesn't realize how rare he is when he's in his 50s and he has both parents.
I'm 50, not in my 50s.
You're in your 51st year. Gotcha.
All right, guys.
So you're in your 50s.
All right.
Like he's breathing rarefied air, to
Well,
use
I
Alan's
said
term.
that when my dad died, I didn't realize that, not many of my friends had lost a parent at 32, when I was like, oh, this is pretty young to lose a parent. And when I was still in that first couple months and I'd be out at a diner or something and I'd see someone who was 60 with their 95-year-old mom, I'm like, well, that's not fair.
Yeah.
I'd get mad that they get to have an old parent and I didn't have one.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, my wife has both of her parents. I mean, she's 10 years behind me, so her parents are 10 years behind mine. But, we will have to contend with all four of our parents going at some point. And it's like, man, I do not, listen, I'm publicly known as a subpar consoler. So I'm really...
Don't sell yourself short.
I'm not. Everybody else does.
You're awful.
Yeah, thank you. I've got to give you some money here. It's $1,000. It's a chance for you to go fund yourself. So listen closely and good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword money at WMMS.com. That's money. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
I was reading that. I guess I didn't even realize my daughter is in her America's Funniest Home Video phase, but the only episodes that they've got on streaming are the Tom Bergeron years. So you're probably going back to maybe, I don't know how far that goes back, maybe 2013 or something like that. But obviously Bob Saget hosted the very first 7 seasons of that show. I don't know in the wake of his death if anybody has, I think Disney Plus streams AFV. And now it's, what's his name hosts it? Alfonso Ribeiro hosts it. But there have been a handful of hosts in between, but Saget was the first one. And unbelievably, the executive producer of America's Funniest Home Videos is still alive and still producing that show, a guy named Vin DeBona. And they are going to put classic Saget clips into America's Funniest Home Videos through the next couple of seasons. They're going to take old Saget clips and they're going to put them into the current shows. Because they're like, people forget how physical Bob Saget was on that show. Like he would walk out and say, hey, it's my birthday. And they would pan out to the audience. Everybody was holding up a box or something. So he was always doing weird stuff. So for people who still watch the show, and I'm sure it's a great way to get people to go back to the show, they're going to be doing montages of Saget bits from America's Funniest Home Videos.
That's exciting. I didn't catch all that. They're going to put DeBona in Saget?
Yes, that's what they're going to.
I was doing engineer stuff since, we don't have any guys to do it.
And I appreciate that. This Bob Saget gets mentioned on this week's Poundcake podcast, by the way. His buddy Fancy sits in with him, and they do really a tear-jerking tribute to Bob Saget. Overall, it's you and Fancy talking about the last year. What's the episode called?
A Fancy New Year.
A Fancy New Year. So you guys kind of recap some things, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what you're about to play, so I'm scared too.
And Bob Saget died.
Yeah, I wasn't fan of him. I don't care.
Right. So it was. I'll tell you what. There wasn't a dry eye.
I was gonna say clearly. I must have said I don't care because I was like I don't remember talking about Bob Saget.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house when I was listening to this at 4 a.m. And
Bob Saget died.
Say what?
No, him. Just exactly what you're about to play again.
Oh, it gets better.
And Bob Saget died.
Yeah, I wasn't fan of him. I don't care.
You don't watch Full House? You watch Full House. Everybody watched Full House, dude.
I watched it because it was on, not because I liked it.
It was on after school.
But I didn't like it. No, and I didn't watch it after school. I watched it on Nick at Night. I hated a Full House because I was like, Full House signified that no more cartoons or no more original content. It was old people shows.
Yup, old people shows. When Full House came on, it's old people shows. Those damn boomers and their Full House.
Don't put that on Nick at Night. Kids don't care about Full House.
My kids all watch Full House.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
I think you got to take the L on that one, Poundcake.
You didn't care about Full House.
Oh my God, I didn't care. I I got lady boners. I got a regular boner for Uncle, what's his name?
Fester.
Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse, he was hot, and Zach Morris. Those were my two childhood crushes.
But you know Uncle Jesse was on Full House.
Yes, I understand. It signified it was on after cartoons.
Yeah.
And it would be on because I didn't want to go to bed, but I also didn't want to watch Full House. So I'm like, oh, wow, look at this.
I just love that you called it old people show.
It is an old people show.
Huh. It is 30 years old, right?
I mean, it's an old show.
35 years
they
old.
Also
I get why you didn't watch it, but I also think it's funny that you had a crush on this guy, but you wouldn't stick out an episode just to watch Uncle Jesse.
No, I can look him up, or like I would wait until I see him, and if they had like a shirtless scene of him getting out of the shower or something,
they never had that.
Exactly.
On Full House.
Whatever. Sometimes.
Listen, I'm sure it wasn't for lack of trying. I'm sure there were a couple of times where they were like, "Look, the ratings are down a little bit. Could we just get John? We can't have one more scene of this guy drumming for the goddamn Beach Boys. Could we have him with his shirt off or something?"
Well, when he would dress like Elvis, sometimes it would be like low cut, so you could see like his pecs a little bit, but it wasn't like anything like Cody's wanting.
They would have Happy Days. I wouldn't watch that. They would have I Love Lucy. So those are all old people shows. Like no adults were turning to Nick at Night like, "Ooh, let's watch I Love Lucy or that not that 70s show, Happy Days." So yeah, I felt
is Nick at Night still a thing? Because for a while they evolved. It was like
staying up later.
It was Friends and it was like early '90s shows. But I don't even know if Nick at Night is a thing anymore. I don't even think Nickelodeon.
I have no idea.
One of those channels doesn't even broadcast 24 hours anymore. Like Boomerang shuts off at midnight because they're like, look, these are cartoons.
I think they have Nick Jr. Like Nick Jr. used to be a certain time slot and on Nickelodeon, and then I think they just turned Nickelodeon or Nick Jr. into its own show.
Because I would watch it. I was in like half day kindergarten, and I remember my grandma had cable, but we didn't. So I would go there and watch Face Jr.
Yeah,
because there was Face, and then God, what a marketing technique! Where they're
Face
like,
Jr.
Well, for Nick, do you know Face?
No.
From Nickelodeon, it was literally
F-A-C-E.
Yes,
that's Face. That's me.
The screen was just a color, so it would just be blue with eyes and a talking mouth, and like the spokesperson of Nickelodeon was Face. That's his name, and so he'd like introduce the next shows and come back in and do like a little silly thing,
which is really creepy when you think about it. It's just a face,
but it was just really engaging to children because it was so simple, and then the bright colors they enjoy.
Yeah.
Because little kids are so dumb.
They just gotta like count or spell a word or something. And then Face Junior was on before Face. Face started at like 2, and Face Junior was on at like 9.
So anyway, Poundcake's hot take on Bob Saget and the new Poundcake podcast. I listened to some of it. I had to stop because it got all noisy. Listen to this clip.
Dude, they were so savage back then. If you survive, you're a witch. If you die,
dude, eventually he's going to come back around like that. Yeah, we're on our way.
Man's already disgusting. Yeah, waterboarding. I don't know.
Yeah, what's with all the thumping?
I think
there's thumping throughout this whole thing.
It was sitting on Fancy's bar, so they were probably. I think that's a little.
What was sitting on Fancy's bar?
The mic.
Why didn't you move the mic?
Because that's where it was sitting.
Why didn't you move it? It's your podcast. I try to help this guy, and I'm listening. I had to stop. It just thump. I'm like, what is this thumping? If he's not eating or drinking, there's thumping.
Well, I didn't know that it was that loud. He was putting I don't know exactly what he was
So
doing.
you don't listen to this when it's all done?
No, I do, but
you don't. How did I hear it and you didn't?
But what was I supposed to like just edit that out because he was talking over it?
Yeah, you don't post it.
Okay, well, I didn't want to not do that.
You didn't.
And you can cut it out and be like, "Hey, there was a little bit.
There's some thumping in here,
or whatever."
I thought he was just putting a drink down, or he may have smacked his down.
No, bro, you do you.
It's ASMR. He's doing.
That's right, ASMR. Like when I hear my dog up in the middle of the night lapping water, I'm like, I should really put a microphone on her. Let's put that on TikTok. I'm sure there's some sickos that would want to listen to that.
You're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong. I wasn't kidding. Yeah.
What a good word, you sicko.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Sicko.
Yup. So, anyway, the Poundcake podcast is...
it's up at AlanCoxShow.com.
Up at AlanCoxShow.com. Thank you also to Frank Smoth, who helped out in the video.
So close.
It's not just Bill trying to put out fires here on the video, and it's also is it Frank Smoth? Frank Smoth. I think I'm reading that properly.
Yeah, Frank Smoth.
Frank Smoth.
Frank
right?
Smoth.
Yeah. It sounds weird rolling off my tongue, but
it's so close to Frank Smith, which would be a totally normal name,
right?
But it's Frank Smoth.
And they absolutely did have a scene with Uncle Jesse shirtless in a towel. Season 4, episode 3, somebody said.
Okay, well, there
so
you
some
go.
other sicko has got this committed to memory.
There's Poundcake's episode.
All right. Nick and Knight plays Friends, Golden Girls, Clarissa, and Hey Arnold.
Hey, now I would watch
Clarissa.
that. Clarissa Explains It All and Hey Arnold.
Is that Melissa Joan Hart? Is that who that was?
I was at the Universal tour when they were filming an episode once, and we were just like walking by the studio. But I remember seeing that episode on TV, and I was like, we saw, like, that blew my mind to, like, see TV in production and then eventually see it on actual television.
Right.
Very cool.
Now, I'm a little bit older, so I got really excited when I saw Uncle Jesse from the Dukes of Hazzard in a towel. Denver Pyle running around all glistening, and oh, man.
You mean Willie Nelson.
Right, I'm sorry. Willie Nelson from the Johnny Knoxville, Jessica Simpson version, sure. But I'll go all the way back to Denver Pyle because why? Pure, raw sex appeal.
They're bootleggers.
That's right. Bootleggers. I got to take a break. If you want to get a text for anything, 35192. I'll have tickets for you shortly to see Wasp. Blackie Lawless and company are doing a 40th anniversary tour that's going to get them to the Agora this fall. I'll have those WWE Monday Night Raw tickets for you later on, too, and the Slipknot Knot Fest later on as well. We'll be back.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7